welcome back to Rese Inspired. I'm Rese, and today we're going to be doing a get to know me tag. So, a couple of days ago, I asked some of you guys on my WhatsApp and Instagram, I asked you guys to send me questions to get to know me, and I have those today. I have added a couple of questions that I feel like they're great to just break the ice and just to add on to a get to know me tag. So if you see me looking down, I've actually transcribed the questions into my book because there was quite a lot to go through. So I'm just going to be using that just to read through and yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So the first question is, what is my name? Right? So my full name is Resegofaditswe. Then my second name is Mixine. I was born Luate, or Luate, not Luate. But my surname was Luate when I was born. Luate. Why do I keep saying Luate? This trying thing. But anyways, I was born Resegofaditswe Mixine Luate. And then my mom married into Molopiane. So now I go by Resegofaditswe Mixine Molopiane. My name means we have been blessed or we are blessed. And yeah, a lot of people ask me that when did I learn my name? And I learned my name before I went to grade 1. So yeah, when I was in grade 1, I already knew how to write my name. I don't know how long it took me to learn how to write my name before I went to grade 1. But by the time I went to grade 1, I had my name on lock. So yeah, and what is my birthplace? So I was born in a village called Kabalatsane. It's in the northwest, not too far from Hebron. So yeah, it's pretty much between Hebron and Rabukala. Yeah, I was born in Kabalatsane. For most of my childhood, I spent there at Kabalatsane before I moved to Harankua with my mom once she got married. And then the last question that I came up with was my age. So I just turned 28. I still don't feel 28, but I just turned 28, so we'll see how that works, right? And then yeah, let's get into your questions now. So the next question is, what is my family nickname? This is a weird one because when I was young, my cousins used to call me Nana, right? I don't know if it was because my name was too long, but they used to call me Nana, of which they still do. Some of them still call me Nana, or some of them will remind me that they used to call me Nana, so it's quite cute. But when I'm at home, I don't have a nickname. They call me by my full name, Resegofaditswe. Everybody calls me Resegofaditswe. And that's why I find it so weird for other people who are outside of my family, or if I'm not home and someone calls me by my full name, I don't know, my brain just redirects to home. I remember I used to, when a person, like a female person, calls me Resegofaditswe, I used to respond and say Ma, and then a few seconds later I'm like, no, it's not my mom. So now I have to laugh it off, and it was just awkward. But my family calls me by my full name. No one calls me Resi, no, not really. Just my niece. I think, yeah, my niece is like, what, 5 years old? She calls me Resi, but everybody calls me Resegofaditswe at home. And then the next question is, what is my favorite childhood memory? Now this one is tricky because I don't have one favorite childhood memory. I have a couple. And hear me out here, ne? I need to explain before I tell you what my favorite childhood memory is. So I think from the outside, presented as a sweet and, you know, a little bit shy, but, you know, sweet child altogether. But I was naughty. I know my truth is I was very naughty, but I was able to hide that I was naughty, if that makes sense. So I did some questionable things when I was a child that I really enjoyed, honestly speaking, when I look back. So here are my 5 favorite childhood memories from the naughty things that I used to do. Um, so at home we had I don't know what you guys call it, but the security door, Butler door, in Kavalatzane. So when I was young, I used to sneak out. We had a very big yard at home. My grandmother's yard is huge. So there was the house, there was the shop, there was um the vegetation yard, and then there was the where there was chickens and stuff. So whenever my grandmother would go and slaughter a chicken, I know this is bad to say, but yeah, they would go to the other side, right? And I was very curious to know what exactly are they doing at the other side. So they would lock me in the house just to keep me safe, and then they would go to the other side, locking me in the house, not because they don't want me to go with them, but because I used to watch TV a lot, and whenever I would watch TV, I would like not hear anything else. And then I would realize that, everybody's gone to do their own thing. So I would sneak out through the steels in the butler door, and then I would go like behind the house, and then I'll see where they are, and then I will just check what they're doing, and then I'll go back without them noticing that I actually sneaked out. And then when they come back, they find me sitting where they left me, right? So until my late cousin saw me, and he snitched on me. He snitched, and then they had to reinforce the butler doors. So yeah, that was one. I loved doing that because I felt like it was my own little thing that I knew I'm doing and no one else knew, and I was still in their good books, so that was great. And then another one of my favorite um, memories is learning how to pick a lock. So, like I said, I used to watch TV a lot. So, I would pick up some things on TV, and I'll try to do them like myself. So, one of the things that I picked up was picking a lock, and then I learned how to do it myself. And to this day, I know how to pick a lock. Um, this came in handy in high school, by the way, but we're not gonna get into that. And then my third favorite memory is when I was in grade 2. Um, our teacher was on leave, right? And we had I won't call them substitute teachers because they were teachers at our school, but they stood in for our teacher. So there was two of them. One of them was very strict, and she would literally beat us when we make noise. This was back in the day, guys. Like getting, hit with a stick in school was the norm for discipline purposes. So someone discovered that if you put a onion on your hand and you get beat up, you're gonna swell up, right? And we tried that, and I was one of the people who was beat, and I swelled up, I think, more than everybody else. My hand was so swollen, and the teacher was so scared that they've hurt me, and they didn't want me to tell my mom. And I got free ice cream because I think she was bribing me so that I don't tell my mom. But I did tell my mom, and I told her exactly what we did, and she just laughed, and that was that. And then in grade 1, I think I should have started with the grade 1 story, but anyways, in grade 1, they asked us to come with plants to school to decorate our desks. It was cute. So during break time, we'd go and fetch our plants, put them on our desk, and then we'd eat with plants on our desk. It was cute. And then someone came with an idea to eat the plants, right? And a couple of us went and we wanted to taste the plant. I don't know why, but we did that. But it turned out it was a poisonous plant, and someone got a reaction, and they had to take us to the clinic. Luckily, our school was close to the clinic, so they had to take us to the clinic. Some people went to the hospital, and they gave us some meds, but I didn't have to be on those meds for a long time because I didn't really eat too much of the plant. But it was a nice memory. We got a beating of our lives in grade one after that because yeah. And then my last memory, it's gonna sound um sorry, I wrote these 5 memories down because I felt like I don't want to forget them. But this one is gonna sound mean, but it wasn't. The intention wasn't to be mean, right? So, like I said, I discovered a lot of things when I was young. I was very curious, and there was a time when I saw a movie, and it was an action movie. This is why you shouldn't let your kids watch adult movies or movies where there's violence. So I saw a movie, there was violence, and they were stapling that person's hand, and I thought to myself, I would really like to, like, for me, I was like, it shouldn't be that bad. So I was like, let me try to staple my hand, and then I stapled my fingers, both my thumbs. If you look closely, I still have the scar. It's not a scar, it's a mark on my thumb, but you can't really see it. You need to look closer. So then, as I was doing that, my sister walked in. Mind you, I am 3 years older than my sister. My sister walks in, and for some reason, I convinced her to staple her finger. And then I did. And for her, it was painful. So, mind you, the stapler went in. I know this is graphic. And then I took it out. But the problem is, by the time I took it out, my mom came back, and I think I somehow convinced my mom that I didn't do it. It was her fault. But I think my mom read through it, and yeah, she scolded us for that. And then yeah, enough with my favorite childhood memories. Next question, my proudest accomplishment. I think I have a few. I was proud to graduate, especially my honors. My honors year was quite difficult, especially towards the end of it. And the fact that I put, I stayed and I was consistent and I pushed through and finally graduated, I was very proud of myself for that. So, yeah, that's that. And then my 2 pet peeves. So, so the question is, what are your 2 pet peeves and why? I have 2 pet peeves. The first one is people who don't respect other people. Yeah, I get disconnected if you don't respect me, or you don't and or I see that you don't respect other people. It's a disconnect. Then the second one, I know some guys do this, and maybe some girls, and if that works for you, it's fine. But wearing sneakers without socks, I don't get it, and I don't think I'll ever get it. Even if someone tries to explain it to me, I don't think I'll ever get it. I don't like it. So yeah. Favorite animal. My favorite animal is a giraffe because I think they're cute. And most embarrassing moment. With this question, it was a bit difficult to think about because I don't think I remember a most embarrassing moment, but I know I have moments where I get embarrassed. I have this thing where I think people are smiling at me and I smile back only to find that they were not smiling at me, or I would, like, people would be waving at someone behind me and I wave back, and then I realized they were not waving at me. Yeah, it gets embarrassing. And then someone asked me, what is it about sunflowers? Yeah, when she asked me this, she was like, I don't get it. Like, what is it about sunflowers? So, first of all, with sunflowers, it comes from my favorite color. So my favorite color is yellow. So when I was celebrating the color yellow, sunflowers was also another flower that I it was part of the mix of me loving the color yellow. I recently fell in love with the color yellow, I think a couple of years ago. And what drew me closer to the sunflower, because it was sunflowers and yellow tulips. But I stuck with the sunflowers because they represent resilience as well. So I would see sunflowers growing out of the most weirdest places. And for me, that just showed me that something beautiful can come out of the harshest of environments, you know? So that's why I can relate to sunflowers. Okay, and that's why I love them so much. And they're also cute. And then the next question is, do you believe in soulmates? Um, I do, but not only restricted to the romantic type of soulmate. I think sometimes there's you can find a soulmate in a family member, you can find a soulmate in a friend. It doesn't always have to be a romantic soulmate or romantic relationship. So yeah. Then the next question is, what did you study in varsity, and are you currently doing something related to your qualifications? Okay, so undergrad, I I registered for BCom Econometrics at the University of Pretoria. Um, that course had informatics, and I never did computer sciences in high school. So informatics and mathematical stats, and then I realized, okay, this is not for me, but I love economics. So I stayed with economics. Then in my third year, I added business modules so that I can do my honors in business. Someone is calling me. Call them back. Cool. So I then did my honors in business management at the University of Pretoria. Am I doing something related to what I studied? Yes and no. I'm not an economist, and I'm not, with business it's quite broad, but I'm not an economist. But my qualifications enable me to do the work that I do, and they've enabled me to do the work that I did in the past as well, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would definitely recommend economics. Like I know people hate it, but it really, you get to understand the world differently when you go to the workplace. A lot of things are not, it's not difficult for you to get, because there's economics has marketing, it has, so you get to learn about different markets and how they work. It has supply chain, you get to understand how supply chain works. It has mathematics principles. I did my second year, I had a module called economics with calculus. So it has that. So all these different elements you can apply in different parts of, work. It doesn't have engineering, unfortunately, or medicine, but there's a lot that you can do with economics. Okay, best advice I've ever received and from whom? So there's two good pieces of advice that I've received. The first one, I was in my honors year, so I was working as an assistant lecturer, and there were a lot of things happening in that department, and I was the only Black assistant lecturer, right? So this other professor pulled me aside and told me that, listen, you're the only Black assistant lecturer and you're a woman. Not a lot of people are happy that you're in this position. So you need to, every time that, and it's not just the assistant lecturer position, it's also everywhere that you go in life. As a Black woman, you have to work 10 times harder than anyone else. And I've seen that even after I when I left that position and I went to work in other places, I've seen that if you slack, your it it can destroy you as a person. But also overexerting yourself can also destroy you. So it's one of those pieces of advice that it's like Kaswana we say ke kgomo ya moshate, wa e gapa o molato, wa e lesa o molato. I don't know what that means in English. But yeah, the second piece of advice that I got was with regards to my overthinking. I tend to overthink a lot, and in my professional space, when I overthink, I overcomplicate problems. So if I overcomplicate a problem, I always think there's a complex solution that we can apply to the problem. So I was advised that it doesn't always have to be complex, right? Sometimes problems require simple solutions. So sometimes when I find myself overthinking, especially in a professional sense, I would go back to that and try to look at the problem in a different light. Okay, the next question, we're almost done, guys. Next question is, what are your love languages? My love languages, sometimes I feel like all of them are my love languages. Yeah, maybe. But I think physical touch, as well as okay, physical touch, gifting, and words of affirmation. Yeah, I think those are my top three. And then, how's life treating you? Someone asked me how's life treating me. I think life has been life. I wouldn't say life is fair or life is not fair, but life is life, and sometimes there's obstacles that come your way, and you have to go through them. So life has been lifing. Life has been lifing, but I feel blessed. I believe I'm blessed. There's a lot of things that God has blessed me with, and there's a lot that I'm grateful for. And I am happy and content right now. So yeah, hope that answers the question. And then last but not least, one quote that picks you up when you are feeling down. I don't think I have a quote that picks me up when I'm feeling down. I think I have a feeling when I'm down. When I feel down, I used to feel guilty because I'm feeling down, but now I allow myself to be present in that emotion or in that feeling, and in me being present, remembering that this is not forever. And I always tell myself, well, maybe this is a quote. I always tell myself that um I'm gonna get through this, and I always remember why is it, like, for example, if it has to do with work, for example, I always remind myself what my why is. Why am I doing this? And it's so difficult sometimes to understand what your why is. For me, it was difficult because I always wanted my why to be like this big thing, profound, and all these things. And sometimes it doesn't have to sound profound to be important to you, right? So I always go back to that and go back to where I don't want to be, and where I, want to be, and I try to find ways in which I can pick myself up depending on what's bringing me down. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. It's not necessarily a quote, but it's a me being in a specific mindset. However, there is a Bible verse that picks me up when I'm feeling down, and it is those who trust in the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall shall soar on wings like eagles. They shall run and not go faint. They shall walk and not go weary. So even when you're going through the most, if you trust in the Lord, He will renew your strength. So yeah, I leave you with that. And yeah, thank you so much for staying up until here. If you stayed through all of this, me rambling and going off tangent, thank you so much for staying with me and for getting to know me. And I hope this gives you a better view of who I am. And yeah, hope to enjoy this journey further with you guys. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.